Yes, special teams do count. Mark Rogers TV with instant analysis of Mississippi State's win over Miami 17-16. So is this a big win for Dan Mullen? No, it's not, but it avoids an embarrassing loss of an SEC team losing to a MAC team, and not just a MAC team. We're not talking about the MAC champion or runner-up. We're talking about a 6-6 team from the MAC. So Mississippi State, no. Dan Mullen's not going to mark this down as a win like he had last year against an ACC team in NC State, or what could have been a win in the Orange Bowl a couple years ago, or against a Northwestern team out of the Big Ten in the Gator Bowl, but surviving and avoiding embarrassment. They don't even get to 500 with a win at 6-7. So both teams finished with 6 wins and 7 losses. So it was the blocked field goal that came into play, and also a blocked extra point. So that's what really saved the Bulldogs, was a blocked extra point on Miami's first touchdown, the first touchdown of the game. They kept the score at 9-0 and kept Miami chasing the 1 point and made it a 17-16 game. Otherwise, Miami would have been playing for the win, or at least just to make it to overtime. Otherwise, they had to obviously kick the field goal to win the game, being down by 1 point, and then Mississippi State blocks the field goal. Whether it was Corey Thomas or Jonathan Calvin that blocked the kick and got his hands on the football, I couldn't really tell. I watched it a couple different times. Both players got penetration up the middle. That's Calvin and that's Thomas that saved the game for Mississippi State 17-16. Dan Mullen could be the GOAT in this game, or could have been, because Mississippi State really poor decision here late in the football game. So MSU's driving, leading 17-16. Nick Fitzgerald running at will. He finished with 18 carries for 132 yards. Dan Mullen said after the game that Fitzgerald will be the starting quarterback when they enter the spring and go through the summer drills, that he's the guy that has to improve as a passer and as a decision maker. 13 of 26 today for 136 yards. Again, more of a threat on the ground. The SEC's leading total offensive leader, and 132 yards on the ground on this day. But Mississippi State had it down to the Miami 21. They led 17-16 with just a few minutes to play, and Fitzgerald ran the ball up the middle and had his helmet knocked off, so he had to miss a play. Unfortunately for the Bulldogs, it was 4th and 4. So instead of kicking the field goal to go up by 4 and force Miami, which had only scored 2 touchdowns today, forcing Miami to go the length of the field and score a touchdown to win, Mississippi State opted to throw the football and go for it on 4th and 4 with a new quarterback in the game, Damian Williams. He does have experience from in the past, his first couple seasons in Starkville, but this is his first play of the game, and it's 4th and 4, and they have him drop back in the pocket and pass. When they could have trotted out Weston Graves to kick the field goal, he just kicked a 36-yarder. This would have been a 38-yarder, and they would have gone up by 4 and forced Miami to score the touchdown. Well, Damian Williams threw a horrible pass. He was under pressure, flushed to the left, threw a terrible pass. He had a couple guys open, missed them, and it was still 17-16. And then certainly Gus Ragland played an exceptional game at quarterback for Miami. He led the Redhawks down the field, hit on some key plays, most notably Ragland to Gardner to set up the play at the 17-yard line with 16 seconds left to play. Then Miami opted to try to center the football for the field goal kicker, who came into the game 9 of 11 kicking field goals. So a bit of a safe play, except for a couple things. He's missed 5 extra points on the season, and also Mississippi State had shown on the blocked PAT that they get penetration against Miami's front, and that's exactly what happened. Just to take you through this game, Miami came in a completely different team under Ragland at quarterback the second half of the season. The Redhawks lost its first 6 games, won its last 6. Just to give you some stats to confirm the change in play, -5 in turnover ratio the first half of the season, +8 the final 6 games, 39% conversion rate in the red zone for the Miami offense the first half of the season, 74% the second half of the season. Again, for Mississippi State, it was Nick Fitzgerald running the offense, the total offense leader in the SEC. Teams traded punts early on. In the third quarter, they traded touchdown drives. Fitzgerald from 44 yards to get Mississippi State within 16-14 after Ryan Smith, the Miami tight end, with an exceptional day, 7 catches for 72 yards, had 2 key third down conversions for 33 total yards, then caught the 1-yard TD to get Miami in front at 16-7. In the fourth quarter, really the crucial play of the game, because Miami led it at 16-14. They were driving the ball, and Gus Ragland, in his young career, had 15 touchdown passes, no interceptions. The sophomore had never thrown an interception in his career, and he chose a bad time to do it. Miami driving with a 2-point lead early fourth quarter, and Jamoral Graham picks it off from the safety spot for his third interception of the season, and it was really a bad decision by Ragland on the play inside the 10-yard line. Otherwise, Miami goes up by 5 possibly with a field goal, or they could have gone up by double scores with the touchdown. Fitzgerald came back with a 26-yard run. There was a double personal foul penalty, including targeting, that got Mississippi State close. And then Weston Graves hit the 36-yard field goal that proved to be the difference in the game at 17-16. Richie Brown made a couple of big plays in this football game. Early in the game, there was a forced fumble. Richie Brown pounced on it later in the game on a 4th and 2 when Miami was inside the Mississippi State 30 with about 7 or 8 minutes left to play. Richie Brown, with a pass breakup, might have been interference as he was tugging on to the jersey of Ryan Smith, but MSU could not contain Ryan Smith on this day. Kenny Young with a big day for Miami, 9 carries for 67 yards out of the backfield, also had 3 pass receptions, and he was difficult to stop. So not a moral victory, but good showing by Miami out of the MAC in finishing off at 6-7 despite the loss. Here, they'll need to work on the special teams, and for Mississippi State, Dan Mullen avoids disaster and embarrassment, losing to a MAC team coming from the SEC Western Division. He finishes at 6-7. Mississippi State with a ton of work to do as they are looking up at the rest of the SEC West. I know that they defeated Ole Miss, and I know that they finished higher than the Rebels this season, but they haven't been able to rival the Rebels' success in recent years. Talk to me about Mississippi State and also about Miami, this game in particular. I've got a ton of notes. I could talk about it for 20 minutes, but we'll cut it short right now and need to hear from you now on Mark Rogers TV.